The Arctic, a place of solitude and bitter cold, a darkness like no other, with only the flashlight of my gun leading the way. Snow falls gently behind me, covering my steps just as quickly as I make them, but still I roam tirelessly through the night. As the sun begins to break through the darkness, my thoughts spin as thunder breaks the silence, the endless cold, accompanied by an Arctic peace. My thoughts continue to spin through my dreaming mind as I wake up to a new wipe. My journey starts on the beach, but I knew this time around I wanted to live in the Arctic, so I made my way towards the snow. But along this path, I stopped to do some looting and some farming. If you're new to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe because I post chill content like this every week. I was playing on a server that I already had BPs for, but one thing that I'm used to is playing weekly wiped servers. But little did I know, this was a bi-weekly server, and I was playing on the second week, so other players had a whole week of advantage over me. But I wouldn't let that stop me, because giving up is not something solos should ever consider. After farming some wood, I took a moment to breathe. I laid down a campfire and I attempted to kill the cold that was covering my body. This spot felt like home, and I had enough resources to begin building, so I did just that. While farming some wood, I slowly begin to notice my neighbors lurking in the distance. So, instead of opening my doors and risking everything to a camper, I decided to spawn in the grasslands and collect as much loot as I could and bring it back home. And just as the sun was beginning to set, I started heading in the direction of my home. and once I arrived, I set down a campfire and warmed up. Now, I had a bow and a sleeping bag, and with my newly acquired bow, I headed out to hunt some animals. This polar bear was mine for the taking. With every free moment I had, I was chasing the scrap. Since I had BPs, I only needed workbenches, and that didn't seem too difficult to get. Now, I was ready to expand. Some of you that have been with me for a long time may recognize this base design, and if you do, thank you for being a true dreamer. The following day, while heading out to get some notes, my neighbor was passing by. And from the distance, we made a non-verbal agreement to be peaceful. I slowly began to upgrade, adding a loot room. I placed down 3 boxes and then emptied the 1 box that I had near my TC and brought it over. Now, it was time to honeycomb the base. Achieving this early into wipe was extremely important to me, so I made it happen. Clearing the Arctic research base was a very difficult task because it was one of the noisiest monuments in the game. I assumed as soon as the scientist shot, everyone in the area would be alerted and they'd be sneaking over. So I attempted to collect as much loot as I could and disappear. And sometimes other players would clear the monument for me, and I would simply use the recycler. But as time went on, farming wood, nodes, and collecting scrap became very difficult. There were people with guns watching on every rooftop. darkness. After dying from this terrifying kill, I respawned at a sleeping bag outside of my base, and that's when I came across this guy. Everything seemed normal. A geared guy shooting someone who just spawned on their sleeping bag. That is Rust. But then something interesting happened. I quickly spawned inside my base and headed over to the body. This cheater had been banned, so I took his loot. Unfortunately, I lost the loot to another suspicious player, but that didn't matter because I was immediately back at grinding for scrap. This server was just like last time, highly active. There were people coming from all directions to farm nodes in my area, and all I wanted to do was get my tier 2 down. But just in case any of these people were coming to raid, I decided to upgrade my suicide bunker. And seal it off. On this particular morning, I logged on and I collected the farm I needed to bring my base to life. Shortly after, I came across this freshly rated base with a tier 2. Unfortunately, the TC was untouched, so I couldn't take it. But I had an idea. If I brought the items I needed to make a gun, I could craft one here. So I did just that. win some and you lose some. The cycle of rust. On my way to craft another SAR, I found another body lying in the snow. I couldn't believe it. Another player. Banned. Finally, my tier 2 was down, and now I could craft garage doors. And after doing that, I decided I was going to make my way to the lighthouse. Recycling in the Arctic base was nerve-wracking with players all around, and so I found a boat, filled it with low grade, and headed off to Lighthouse. Out on the water, with no one in sight, was very, very peaceful. And so I took it in, being able to play the game with zero stress. And as I approached the lighthouse, I parked my boat and I made my way up. At the top, I could see everything. As my items were recycled, I kept a close watch for anyone approaching. So far, this wipe has gone relatively well. From this point on, progression is much, much faster. But to get to where we're going, I have to show you how we start. I had a dream that we were lost in the Arctic. As the storm raged, I spoke to my horse. I won't give up on you if you won't give up on me. It's not the time to rest. We need to get home. And as she pushed her tired legs, I focused my tired eyes. Through the heavy snow and deep fog, lost in the storm, as the thunder rumbles above a sky that seemed to be angry at a solo, but a solo unprepared to surrender to his mind. Is this a dream, or is this real? I can't tell, but I can't risk the wait. The chances were slim, but somehow we made it home. But then suddenly, the dark gray skies changed into a beautiful sunset, and that's when I realized I was simply daydreaming. Now, let's continue the story. I finished recycling at Lighthouse, hopped into my boat, made my way back home. If you're new to the channel, I hope you subscribe because I post chill content like this every week. As soon as I got home, I dropped off what I had, grabbed my pistol, and headed to the Arctic research base, hoping to get some loot. But little did I know, chaos was waiting. But in the end, there's always one more. And with that loss, I respawned at base and decided to spend the night maintaining the base. And as the sun began to rise, I grabbed a SAR and I made my way underground. I decided not to go too far. I didn't want to risk it, so I headed back up. But that's when I noticed this guy. And shortly after, someone coming towards him. So I stayed out of sight and watched from the distance. And just like that, I lost what I had. But I took no time to reflect on my loss. This small victory was enough to change my mood. Eventually, I went back down again, and this time, the storm was raging, so my cover was good. I was able to make it home in one piece. After putting away my loot and researching a few things, I made my way back out to the Arctic research base. Yet again, the doors were open. Surprisingly, there were no counters, so I grabbed the red card and all the loot I could and vanished into the storm. After collecting some wood, I began to set up the electric furnace system in my base. If you're a solo player and you're watching this video, try farming this way the next time you play. Just grab some night vision goggles and a jackhammer and farm as much as you can before the sun comes up. The odds of people roaming at night are much lower. Sometimes, others have the same idea, but you'll be able to see them first. I was ready to set up power in the base, but I knew that I needed a second floor, so I began building. When I'm out living in the Arctic, I enjoy a warm, cozy base, so heaters are a must. I farmed every chance I would get, and I would dump my ore in this box and let the magic happen. As a solo, you never know what's gonna happen, so setting up lockers is a good idea as soon as you can. One day, I found a boat and I brought it back to my base. I loaded up with as much loot as I could to recycle, and then I headed to the boat and took it straight to the lighthouse. $700 scrap from one run. That's not bad. I was feeling pretty good, and it was time to do a monument besides the one that was near me. So I grabbed a green card and I headed towards harbor to get a blue card of my own. With a blue card in my possession, I started making plans that were bigger, but in the meanwhile, I had metal, so I began to upgrade my bunker. On this particular day, I sealed off my bunker and I went to sleep. The next day, I found this in my ore box. moved in, so I headed over to investigate. I was starting to get worried. He was growing much faster than I thought he would. And so I decided to make a run to Outpost, mainly to trade in some stone or some wood. It was a long road, but this horse made it just a little bit easier.
Excuse me, do you happen to have 4 scrap at least? 4 scrap? I love you, thank you so much.
You gonna steal my horse's food, bro? With my horse fully fed, I was getting home much quicker. And that was when I came across this guy. I had made it home with far more loot than I thought I would have. I was ready to build a compound. I wanted to be able to move around freely in my area. Without having to look over my shoulder, I was able to use a refinery to maximize my low grade. While roaming one day, I got a little bit of revenge. I was able to get my gun back, along with a new one. Now this time, I was going under and taking it all the way to Outpost. And since I had my shop set up, sending things back home would be easy. On this particular run, I found a supply signal, and I couldn't wait to see what it had for me. With the most important items sent back to base, I gathered the rest of my things and headed home on foot.
Don't do it. I'm new. Don't do it. I'm new.
My horse, back at home, was getting hungry, so I made my way to the closest river and collected as much food as I could. It was getting dark out, so I dropped the supply signal. While I watched the smoke funnel into the sky, I couldn't help but worry. Were others coming to take what's mine? And was I ready? Time would only tell. Shortly after, I noticed that he returned. Just in case anything crazy was going to happen, I moved over some of my most important items into my suicide bunker. And then I called it a night. When I logged on the next day, everything seemed normal until I opened my garage door. I had been offline, most likely from the guy I came across yesterday. Luckily, the damage wasn't too bad, and I still had everything in my suicide bunker. The first thing I did was head to the research base and get a red card. I wasn't gonna let this raid hold me down. Luckily, with the way my base is set up, they didn't get much, and it wouldn't take much for me to get back on my feet. Now that I had a red card, I wasted no time. I was ready to do launch site, so I geared up and I headed in that direction. Along the way, I found a water catcher, so I filled up my jug. If I could complete launch site, then I could consider this wipe a success. I was determined to get it done. After a successful run of launch site, I made my way back to base, but along my route, I came across a white horse. This horse caught me off guard because it was a similar horse to the one that I had been daydreaming of at the start of this video, and so I hopped on the horse and we made our way home. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to my YouTube members. If you got this far in the video, comment the phrase "white horse" down below. You've been watching an Orange Dream production.